This is my presentation for my Level 3 second year FMP. Before I started the course, I could play a variety of different chords on the guitar and write songs. I knew nothing about setting up equipment or recording in a studio environment, and Logic was a mystery to me. I didn't know what any microphones were called or the differences between them. I had minimal recording experience and had only recorded tracks on BandLab or GarageBand on my iPad using Apple headphones with the microphone dangling inside the guitar's sound hole. This led to poor quality recordings, followed by overloading the track with effects without understanding what any of them meant. These tracks were uploaded to SoundCloud. Here is an example of my skill level at this time. This was the first track I recorded in 2020 called Alien.
I don't wanna be here right now. I just wanna go to sleep. I'm tired of this waiting game. I lost my mind and the secrets that I keep.
The next track is called Reminisce, which I wrote in 2021 and decided to release on Spotify as a one-off. My skills did improve between the tracks as I experimented more with loops in different genres.
I wish I didn't miss being reduced to this. I know this ain't a diss, 'cause I'm not like that. Did you have to go? Though when the days are slow, I didn't love you, no. It's just not like that. Feel the light inside you keep.
These songs have their charm and still hold a special place for me, despite having grown past them since. Since starting the course, I have learned how to use Logic confidently, and I understand how to use effects like EQ, automation, reverb, compression, de-esser, send channels, and pitch correction. I understand the differences between dynamic and condenser microphones, and I have experimented with a wide range of microphones, such as the Neumann TLM 103, Neumann U87, AKG 414, SM57, SM58, SEX1, and the SZC 400. My current favourite microphone to use is the TLM 103 condenser microphone, as I prefer smoother and warmer vocal recordings, and this mic helps me achieve that. In the past, I mainly used the Sub-Zero condenser microphone for everything, and before this, I would use an SM57 dynamic microphone. I realised that I was in a comfort zone, and it was important to widen the range of microphones I use to ensure that I get the desired sound for my recordings and grow my knowledge surrounding microphones. My songwriting has improved lyrically and instrumentally as I strive to experiment more with my guitar and vocal melodies with each song I write, whereas before I would be scared off by difficult vocal lines that might be hard to sing, paired with an equally complicated guitar melody. I now see this as more of a challenge and an opportunity to step up, rather than opting for the simpler option. Here is a clip of my most recent work to display my growth in production skills, lyric writing, and vocal ability throughout my time on the course. Feedback from my tutor was positive for this project. My first FMP was a 3-track EP written and recorded independently. The tracks included acoustic guitar, digital instruments, and vocal harmonies alongside the main vocal tracks, which were double-tracked. This FMP was graded at a merit. During this year, I also wrote and produced a track called Cheating Death, which went on to win a UAL Origins Award and was shown at the Creatives Night held in the Moore Galleries in London. My second FMP was a 6-track EP produced and written by myself. I had another track selected for the UAL Origins Award, and this track was called Maine. I had a lovely evening visiting the art exposition and hearing my song played. This project was graded at a pass, which prior to receiving my grades was very unexpected. After reading the feedback and having conversations with my tutor Nick about this, I understood where I was falling short and the steps I needed to take to improve my grades. Here is a clip of my favourite song on the EP.
I would go outside and stare at the night, at the lights in the sky. Nothing can spark a reaction, a passion or action. No, nothing would happen. It's all in your mind, but to keep on
I found that my mindset was really the only thing that needed to change, as I can actually find the written work very enjoyable if I understand why I'm doing it and I'm passionate about the end goal. In the past, I had looked at written work as the thorn in my side, something that could be left until the last minute. I learned quickly that this wasn't the case after my research let my grade down. I still struggle to gain momentum when doing written tasks, but I feel that I'm a lot better at using research to help and back up my work than I was in my previous years. Another issue I've had is time management. During my second FMP, I put too much time into certain tracks, which meant it was a scramble to finish off the last few in time. This led to recording in a very messy and small home studio, my laptop, mic, Scarlett solo and guitar all just on my bed in front of me. This also meant I was allowing all of my research and reflections to fall to the side as I sank all my time into finishing all 6 tracks on time. To avoid this, I plan on being much more realistic about my number of tracks I include, and will make an effort to split my time to allow me to write up everything I need to and check with my schedule. After completing the course, I plan on continuing my studies at Waterbury University in Brighton on a vocal performance course. I'm hoping this will broaden my skills in stage presence and live performance, as well as giving me the independence and individuality I'm looking for. I will also start thinking about my image and online presence, as the university offers classes on self-promotion and image creation, with a support team available to discuss this. For my FMP this year, I plan to create a 3-track EP with collaborative elements in each track. This will also be paired with my live performance in a live show organised by the tutors and the musicians performing. The tracks will be recorded using Logic and a range of different microphones, including the TLM 103, AKG 414 and the UA7, but it is likely I'll experiment with other microphones throughout the project. Instrumentally, these tracks will include acoustic guitar, live drums, live piano, electric guitar, bass, vocals, harmony stacks, acoustic percussion, and digital instruments. The tracklist includes 2 co-written tracks. The first is Iris. This song was written in the summer of 2024 with my dear friend Lou. I'm incredibly proud of this song, lyrically and instrumentally, and it holds a lot of emotional weight for me, as we co-wrote it together about both of our childhood traumas. The track begins slow with a dreamy chord progression and soft vocals, but it intensifies throughout, making it feel quite cathartic to perform and to listen to as well. I plan on meeting with Lou to discuss our schedules and decide when is the best time to book studio time together, as they will have to commute from Brighton for this. I would like to feature their vocals in the track alongside mine. Iris will include double-tracked acoustic guitar, heavily layered vocals and harmonies, electric guitar, live piano, and I'm still undecided on whether the song needs drums or not. The other co-written track is called Porcelain. I wrote this track with Phoenix a few weeks ago when we were both struggling to keep our heads on straight and feeling a bit swamped by the written work. We decided to take a break in a studio and see what happens, and suddenly we were writing. I'm very happy with how it came out, and it's always refreshing to have a positive co-writing experience, as it can be stressful for me sometimes. I enjoyed how we really thought about each line and considered what we were trying to say without forcing it to rhyme, meaning we could sit on the idea for a minute and find the perfect words. I also found that I was writing from an imaginary person's perspective, fabricating a whole story around it. This is a skill I learned during the war project, and it was a huge learning curve for me to try and write something outside of myself, so it was nice to recognise this gained skill. The track will include double-tracked guitar, live piano, vocals, vocal harmonies, live drums, and electric guitar. The song will be co-mixed and recorded by both Phoenix and I. The next track doesn't currently have a name, but I'm working on it. I wrote this song quite recently, and it came from quite a raw place. I found myself struggling a lot at the beginning of the FMP, as my life has been quite brutal recently, and I've struggled to find the momentum I needed to move forward with written tasks, as my mind was somewhere else entirely. After having a long chat with Nick about this, I felt better for airing my thoughts and trying to make a plan, but the next day I felt stuck again. Suddenly, I just felt the need to try and write, as I didn't know what I needed. Following this, I went into the TV studio and the song began to form, and I'm so passionate about bringing this idea to life, and I believe it to be one of my best songs. This track will include double-tracked acoustic guitar, electric guitar, vocals, harmonies, live piano, and live drums. I plan on meeting with drummer Sam from the year below to discuss working with him to put live drums on my tracks. I don't anticipate this to be an easy process, as I've never worked with another musician in this sense, but I'm confident that if the scheduling is considered beforehand, this will be fine. For the show to go ahead, a lot of planning and rehearsals will need to happen. We hope to book Merstham Football Club as the venue, but this will be discussed further in the coming weeks. An entry fee will be charged to attend the concert, and proceeds will go to a charity of the students' choosing. For my performance, I plan on performing a handful of tracks acoustically and possibly with backing tracks. I plan on working with musicians from the other classes to have a drummer and electric guitarist on stage with me for a few songs. For this, I'll need to spend time rehearsing and working on my performance skills. I will need to meet with my peers early in the project to discuss performing together and what would be expected of them. For my secondary research, I will need to research mixing and recording live drums. I will be using articles online and YouTube videos, as it's a lot easier to understand when you can hear and see what they're doing in real time and visualize where certain tools are located in Logic. I will also need to research mic techniques and methods to record live piano, as this is something I've never done before. I will select musical influences to model my piano sound on, and the influence I have in mind so far are C. Rose and Fleetwood Mac. These are subject to change based on my results when experimenting with the piano sound though. I will also research live performance and stage presence. Whilst I have experience performing in college shows, this will be my own set, and I will need to research how to prepare for this and how to give a good and engaging performance that will involve guest musicians. I will also look into research regarding the marketing of the show, posters, invites, stage layout, and lighting. Additionally, I will be researching distributors to put my tracks on Spotify to make sure I'm choosing the right one for me with no loopholes. For my primary research, I will take what I've learned from my secondary research about mixing live drums and test things out on some practice mixes. This will help me understand the act of mixing drums as a whole instead of just guessing and trying to make them sound good on my track. I will also have conversations with my focus group about this, as Nick and Steve are both experienced drummers. Their input will be very helpful when mixing the drums in my tracks, as they will be able to pick out things that need tweaking in the mix as drummers who know what they're listening for. The focus group will give feedback and constructive criticism on my tracks and their development. I also plan on doing practice performances for my focus group and peers to gather feedback on what I can improve on in stage. I will be recording myself performing so I can analyse the results and document improvements. I've compiled a list of research sources I can use to help me in my project to learn everything I need to know. So this is that chart. I've also created a focus group of trusted individuals in the college. I value the opinions and feedback of the group highly, and I feel their individual expertise will help me cover all bases when seeking feedback or advice. My musical influences for this project are C. Rose and Fleetwood Mac, specifically for the piano sound. For the overall musicality of the tracks, my influences are I'm Your Man by Mitski, Need To by Pine Grove, Lavender Blood by Fox Academy, Lavender is always running through my blood, and Silver Spoons by Erin LeCount.
But you were sweet, I got mean, and when we fight I refuse to eat. You're sensible, I'm hating it. What a good job that your mother did. Oh, you were kind, I was cruel in another life. Maybe I was you, and I grew up into something good, somebody who could swallow love. Oh, but you grew up eating at the table, fed love from.
I chose the tracks from Mitski and Pine Grove due to the way that acoustic guitar is played and the element of nature ambience in the tracks. Previously, I've taken inspiration from these tracks in the War project, and I was very happy with the end result, so this is an idea I'm carrying forward into this project. I'm really inspired by the way the backing vocals are in Silver Spoons. Erin uses choir-like vocals chopped up and scattered around to create ambience in the track and complement the main vocals and the drum beat. Backing vocals are a very important feature in my tracks, and I would like to experiment more with using them, keeping Erin's methods in mind. For theoretical problems, my main downfall is when things don't go as planned, which throws off the whole schedule, leaving me floating outside of it, just doing whatever feels right next. I plan to make a more realistic schedule for myself that follows how I naturally work, so I'm not pushing against myself. My self-discipline has failed me many times, allowing myself to procrastinate and forget about things that I have to do. I plan on taking the hours I have in college a lot more seriously so I can get more out of my day and make progress, specifically with written tasks. I'm going to create weekly plans based off of my main timetable and reflect against this. I have overcome problems in the past in a few ways. In some cases in the studios, I've had to troubleshoot and use trial and error with unplugging things and switching out cables. I usually like to try everything I can to solve the issue before asking for help, and tracing things back to the sound source always helps in the studio. However, sometimes there will be an issue that no one can quite figure out. For example, when using the SE-X1 condenser microphone, sometimes the signal will cut out completely during recordings for seemingly no real reason at all. After taking the mic back to the college technician, nothing was deemed wrong with the microphone. This was until I overheard one of my classmates detailing the same issue with this mic a year and a half after my issues with it had happened, still with no real reason as to why this happens randomly whilst working perfectly at other times. When the problems that have come up have been mental hurdles and barriers, it's helpful for me to share these struggles with a tutor and talk about the best way to move forward. This is followed by a break from whatever I'm working on, and I found my head to be a lot clearer when I return. For written work, I found AI assistants to be very helpful in breaking down blocks of text into more digestible points and simplifying tricky concepts. I will be utilising this in my project to help me digest my research. In pre-production, I plan to create demos of my songs. This will help me decide the direction to take my tracks instrumentally and production-wise. I will begin to plan out my schedule for the production stage, book studio time, and discuss my plans with the musicians. In the production stage, I will start recording my tracks on Logic. I plan on prioritising the acoustic guitar parts first. This makes it easier to feel progress and not leave a track behind if they're being worked on alongside each other. From this point, I can follow my inspiration and build up each track. Throughout the track's creation, I will be showing them to my focus group and taking note of their feedback. I will also be needing to meet with the musicians I will be recording drums with. I will be working with the guest musicians and rehearsing for the performance frequently to ensure that a good performance is given. I will be keeping track of my process using notes and vlogs throughout the day, which will help me to expand on everything I've done in my reflections and create an action plan to move forward. I will also be researching distributors to choose the right one for me to put my tracks on Spotify. During post-production, I will finalise the mixes of my tracks and check back in with my focus group again to ensure nothing is missed. Final rehearsals will happen in this stage, everything required for the live show will be prepared and ready to go ahead, and I will upload my tracks to the distributor so the tracks will be ready to promote and access after the performance. Here is the schedule for my project. The skills I will be developing are songwriting, live performance skills, recording, mixing, piano playing, working with Logic, and collaborating with other musicians, though it's important to me that I work on keeping my identity and that the songs connect as a body of work. This will be done through lyric writing using lived experiences that connect with my audience. I will be recording guitar, vocals, bass, drums, electric guitar, and piano. I will play all the instruments except the drums, and I'll be adding effects such as reverb, EQ, automation, pitch correction, compression, de-esser, and send channels, along with selecting and using a range of microphones. My mixing and recording skills have been improving with each project I do, and I feel positive about focusing that energy on a small number of tracks. Whilst mixing the drums might be a bit of a learning curve at first, my skills and ear for mixing will improve and I won't feel as intimidated by it the next time. I will be recording live piano for the first time, and this will give me more experience miking up instruments and recording live audio rather than digital MIDI. I will meet with the drummer to write the parts for the track, and he will play to a click and the guitar tracks. I will be developing my performance skills by rehearsing frequently and thinking analytically about what I'm doing. My approach to reflection is based upon a theory taught to me by Nick called Brookfield's 4 lenses. However, I'm going to take 3 lenses, my own view, my peers, and my teachers, and apply them to specific parts of my work instead of reflecting on the whole week like I've done in the past. This will give my reflection more focus and allow me to create an action plan detailing what I plan on doing next, which will help me change my work as I go. I will reflect against my proposal and plan each week in a separate post. I will also record vlogs throughout the week to document my mic setups and help me remember the specifics of what I did. These will be expanded on further in my reflection posts and will be accompanied by an action plan laying out what I'll do next. In the final evaluation, I will use my skills audit from the start of the project and another at the end to help me evaluate the project as a whole, highlighting key points of my learning and improvements. Here is the skills audit that I filled out at the beginning of the project. I will be using WordPress to display my written work, using headings to split the posts up into relevant sections, and the post will be in categories labelled by the FMP weeks. Weekly vlogs will be uploaded on my YouTube channel, then pasted into WordPress. I will be posting any demos, bounces, and audio files on SoundCloud, and the links will be pasted into WordPress. All tracks will be presented on SoundCloud and Spotify at the end of the project. Here is my bibliography of my research sources, and thank you for watching.